Okay. I'll do this with fag. I never normally do films with fag, just in case I want to share it with somebody who's got the usual total prejudice. Anyway, this morning, early, I realised something kind of terrible. I wonder what the acoustics are like. Terrible. But when I use the word terrible, it's almost like it's terrifying, but it's the wrong word. But it's the right word. It's something that, according to all social mores, you don't want to know is a truth. I mean the deep social mores, the almost all the culture, and certainly all British cheesy twee culture, which is what almost all British culture is. You don't want to admit it's the truth. But it's truth, so say it. Anyway, the very quickest preamble. So in fact, now and again, every few weeks, I like to go somewhere where I'm anonymous. And this is one of the little places I go. You could say it's flaneuring around, hoboing around. And I make use of the library plug. It's quite a good place to work. Charge everything up. And I've been to this place because my dentist is here 4 or 5 times the last 6 months. But here's the thing. So in the last couple of years, this place, this is the reason I'm making this here. Although I'm not going to show anybody, but if you're like me, quite good at just sitting and observing, I mean for years and years, flaneuring. I was even paid to do that in my 20s and 30s. You notice, you're good at noticing just how pained, how tender, how feeling sorry for themselves most people are. In everything, in their gestures, their look, but also we still have this absurd, in fact today, funnily enough, I happened to catch it on Radio 4. Oh, we're getting a double whammy of COVID and an early serious flu this year. We've heard that a few times, but now we hear, COVID numbers are down. But you're still getting people. The majority of people, if you are at a doorway of a shop, at least half the people, particularly those older, in regions like this, they're sort of backing. It's like if you happen to be arriving at the doorway at the same time, it's like, and if you cross with somebody on a pavement in a narrow place where it's a bit constricted, you'll still have that. Oh, thank you. It's just, Let's keep it simple. I mean, what with the last 2.5 years, and now, would I say my health is average? I don't know for my age, but I ain't got any heating. And I've ended up stuck by a very damp river area. I'm going to have to get out of there in a few weeks, otherwise I will be in danger. Right, yes. I ain't got any heating. I haven't had any heating ever. I suppose they'll all have in the back of their mind. I mean, fuel is still at 190. I mean, let's be crystal clear. In terms of my extremely humble income from my work that I've done the last 6 months, and I've been distracted doing other things I'd rather do. But I've suffered probably a lot more than the average. One of my main costs, tarting around in my little van, my little mobile house, is fuel. Fuel's still at 190. It's gone up 30%. Basic, cheap, staple food, very much up 30% at least across the board, and I'm good at shopping. That's my point. I think the majority of people are like now, oh my god, and we've got these escalating fuel bills and our escalating food bills and our escalating, they're all, I want to keep this simple now, because the terrible in quotation marks, realization is this, and I'm only going to share this with one person. Could I be destroyed if this was shared further afield? But it's a truth, and it's this. So yes, now something I've known, I mean, the majority of people, even those who are sort of, oh, it's all a conspiracy and all that, the great majority of people, for the last 2.5 years, have kind of this pain, hurt. They would recognise that they're full of self-pity, but I'm afraid they are. I've had the happiest 2.5 years of my life, consistently. Energy being great, mojo up a great majority of the time. Mojo never down, sometimes mojo in neutral position. And this is the thing. So, as of 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, unquestionably, I am one of the most terrible existential pains and unfinished, horrific, real, genuine heartbreaks and terrible existential, familial, complete and utter, what's the right word, dystopia. Unquestionably. Now, yesterday the government collapses again. We saw that. Now it's not just like, Tories. No. Because the reality is, there's nobody that's like, I would like, who's ever going to get power again. I know that. So in other words, what have we got? We've got a couple more years of total and utter, every time you talk or put on the radio, normal conversation, oh my god, it's all a shambles. No. But you see, often I get surges of almost rapture. Certainly super energized mojo. Now, a few days ago, I had a new one, which I've been dealing with. I've been looking for allies and attempting to intelligently find good people. I've just been talking with one now. I'm very disappointed with her. I thought she would have a bit of a fire in her belly, but no. So I've been looking for allies and even people who may be possible candidates or part of little small groups to energise the anything but what it was, I would call it. I called it a couple of years ago the anything but Boris vote, and it's now, well, there's only 2 issues on the table that are genuine issues, because all politics now is neoliberal. That's what Starmer and company are. They dress it up as centrist. Yes, there may be some environmental aspects, but they're all pretty much agreed on that. It's whether or not they're going to actually make it happen. That's a genuine fight. But there are only 2 genuine fights. A, proportional representation that could somehow be leveraged into the future political spectrum, and a return to review of, which means do we want to at least think about the Norway option? And here's the point. Right. Now, both of those things, in fact, the odds checker, who are very good, gives 7-1 that we will return to the European. No, it's not. 7-1 that you have a coalition government, Labour and Lib Dem. The only way those two things are ever going to happen, PR and Europe, both of which, by the way, in one word, are modern, is if Lib Dems push them, leverage, if they've got 20% of the seats. Right. Or is it 20% of the vote? Doesn't matter. Enough seats to be able to nudge Labour. And it actually might be, Labour might deep down, although they'll never admit it, might like to be nudged. Not on PR, but on Europe. Anyway, here's the point. So when something like yesterday happens, you see, I can't help it. In the back of my mind, as I was thinking 2 weeks ago when I discovered a truly terrible political environmental scandal, the Welsh who run all around to the west are cancelling their environmental bill. You see, a little thing ticks away in my head. Maybe this is something that will get my daughter to engage. And every time that I've done audio essays about how terrible hope is. But you see, the terrible thing I realised this morning is this, that if I didn't have this little, well, you can use the pretentious word, because it is a pretentious word, purpose. Like I have purpose to try and repair, salvage that total dystopian love relationship that was so functional it was ridiculous and was lost, and nobody's ever helped me at all, ever. And a few have sort of, well, only one person's offered. I know that turned out to be bullshit. And then there have been two others who sort of have just slightly floated that they're on side, but they're never actually offered anything further to the point. You see, the little bursts of slight rapture, or my mojo being in ultra stand-up mode, as it was this morning and yesterday. Now, if I had a normal, ongoing, just successful parent, older child paradigm ongoing in my life, I might be as pained as all the rest of them. You see, it's like, for 2.5 years, the second COVID came along, within about a week, it was like, this could be an opportunity. This could be, she may rethink where we are. And this thing, nothing, it's just the most absurd, dystopian void. It's not even anybody's fault, but it certainly isn't hers or mine. But even today, like I said yesterday, it's like, wow, maybe this, oh my god, shortest project in Australia collapse. It energizes me, thinking, well, I've got something broken in my life, something entirely missing. Maybe that might be something, this might be something that might spark us somehow into that being fixed. And so my point is this. even though it's a terrible, 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 awful, let's use the word awful dystopia that I have to live with, and I do incredibly well. Never gets me down anymore, really. So maybe I'm better off, I am better off for having this smallest chance, fixable rent in my soul. Maybe I'm better off for it. In fact, deep down, the terrible thing is, I know I am. It keeps me young, keeps me alive, bizarrely. I am more alive. And thus, it may be one reason, I'm more alive because of this ongoing, total dystopian void. It's like the purpose is...
It's the 2 sausage dogs, lady.
Two sausage dogs, it's a sign! I've told so many people, and they get it.
Wonderful. How are your teeth?
Absolutely beautiful now, except I can't find a woman to kiss me. But seriously, I've told so many people that story. Even the lady vicar, who is where I am near Knighton, and she's got a hairy sausage dog. And I told her this, and she got it straight away. Sexy. She's got a bloke. Oh, good. You see, exactly. You see, I wouldn't have done that if that's being alive. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't, it's almost like I've got this inner. Because there's something totally wrong and incomplete in my life. I celebrate. The rare, when her and I met about 3 weeks ago, it was just so wonderful. It was such a special moment. I think that if I was in a normal mode that everybody else is, I mean, it sounds like one thing I'm definitely not is mentally ill. Never. It's not like I'm desperate. It's like I kind of enjoyed Mrs. Two Such Dogs. It's a sign woman because it's like I'm needing to be on a quest still. Wait for the key to come to me. The key to fix my dystopia. It's more than purpose. It's actually being alive. So selfishly, because there are 2 people in this equation, I have no idea what my daughter might think ever be, having her soul, having her heart. It must be weird for her. But you see the bizarre, and it's all I ever think of. However, I'm a genius when I say I've got no baggage. No, I don't have any baggage. But it's there. Actually, it's not quite true. It's all I take on. I've become good at allowing myself to be on a parallel path that's perfectly all right. But I'm always aware that path is aside, the path that can I have a normal relationship with my only family member at the end of it? I'm always aware it's there. That's a good way of putting it, actually. Anyway, yes. The absolutely terrible truth of human existence. And I read tons of good philosophy and search for the good psycho-spiritual material, there's none left. I write good material myself. And no one's going to admit this, that they're terrible pain, the thing that... And it's not about being a martyr or anything like that. It's very, very, very simply, in a sort of ultra poignant way, one is living more richly in a weird... I'm searching for the... What's the... It's like life shouldn't be like this. But it is. And somehow it's better than it is for me. It's counterfactual. I know these are big words that have taken over our society and made it... Well, they've served nobody any good. I hope I've made the point there. There we go. Right. Oh, I'm so glad I saw her. Come back, Mrs. Sausage Dog. 2 sausage dogs. When I met her. I met her there about 3 or 4 weeks ago because the man was coming in the opposite direction, the disabled man, and he shouted out, 2 sausage dogs at a side. And she is very, very, very supermodel, 50-year-old supermodel. And I cracked up laughing. I was walking 10 yards behind her. And then she cracked up laughing as well. And it just was a perfect moment. She gave me a very big smile when she went off that day. And she's giving me a big smile now. Anyway, there we go.